This Jocks 94.5 podcast is brought to you by Millennium Satellite and Video. Log on to msbnow.com. TV excellence everywhere. That's Millennium. McElroy and Cubelic in the morning starts now.
All right, welcome back in. McElroy and Cubelic in the morning. Appreciate you guys tuning in. Going to go right to the Higginbotham hotline. Welcome in Matt Jones of Kentucky Sports Radio. And Matt, the all-time AP team came out and was curious. We were having a quarterback debate today. Tebow's the number one quarterback. Like he's the first team all-time AP quarterback. Would he be that for you? If you had one quarterback all-time in college football, would he be your guy?
Yeah, all-time. I mean, they're going like from the start of college football.
All-time AP team.
All-time.
He was number one. So ahead of
Yeah,
Cam, ahead of Burrow, ahead of Lamar, ahead of Jaden Daniels, ahead of all of them.
So I was going to say, for me, in terms of in person, nobody was more wow to watch than Lamar. As much as I hate to say that as a Louisville person.
No, you're right.
But when you're talking, and Michael Vick as well, but Tim Tebow probably has had the most success. So, I get it.
All right, what's going on with the quarterback situation there in Lexington? We haven't heard a lot coming out from this football team here in fall camp. How are things progressing based on what you know?
I've heard positive things. I mean, the UK fan base has never been this pessimistic going into a season since probably Joker Phillips was the coach. But all I've heard from camp is very positive. I think they believe they're going to be a lot better than people believe they will. I think they have – the big thing is I think they've upgraded their offensive line, which is the key because last year the offensive line was just absolutely dreadful. And the team quit with about 3 or 4 games to go last year. I mean, just completely quit. It was the Louisville game was one of the more embarrassing games for Kentucky fans of all time. It included a player going to the concession stand in the middle of the game, which was, sort of symbolic of the whole year. I don't think they're going to have that this year. I think they like the culture they've built, offensive line good. They love the 2 running back transfers. I think they feel pretty good about their wide receivers. For me, it's on the offensive side, I do worry about the quarterback play. I think they've, you're starting to hear Cutter Boley's better than people think, which is not a really good sign for what they feel like with Zach Calzada. But I think overall, offensive line, defense, which were the bread and butter of Mark Stoops' years at Kentucky, I think both should be significantly better. The problem is the schedule. I mean, the schedule is just brutal. They play, 6 of the top 16 teams in the country. So they could be a lot better and still go 4-8, and that's kind of what my concern is, actually.
Well, so the quarterback competition, I think Calzada's actually pretty good. I know that he's taken a lot of heat over the course of his college career with what transpired at Auburn, but he can throw it. I
hope you're right.
So
I hope you're right, because then I think they're better.
So if the quarterback's good, are they actually maybe like kind of a dangerous team? For a team like Ole Miss, for example, week 2, having to go up there, that's no picnic.
Oh, no. Listen, if I were – okay, so their SEC home games this year are Ole Miss, Florida, Tennessee, and Texas. If Zach Calzada's good, they're winning one of those. I would not – if I was those teams' fan bases and Zach Calzada was good, I would look at that game as a dangerous game that you don't think is a dangerous game right now. This is a weird year for Kentucky's schedule, and I don't know why it's like this, but it has been for a long time. Their schedule balances to where they either play every year their hardest games at home or their hardest games on the road. And I've always made the case that when Kentucky's good, you'd love to have it where those hardest games are at home. But when they're bad, you almost want to flip it. So last year, their hardest games were all on the road. So this is a year that if Kentucky was good, I kind of like their schedule because you're getting your toughest games at home. Your road games are Auburn, Vandy, South Carolina. I mean, those are games Kentucky can compete in. Georgia's a little different. But yes, I think they'll win one of those home games. I'm picking Kentucky to win 5. I think they win their 3 games against weaker competitions. I think they win one of those home games I just mentioned, and then I think they probably win at Vandy. the way to get to a bowl is to then also win at Auburn, or they've actually had pretty good success against Louisville, even though I think that'll be tougher this year. So that's their path to success. The coaching staff believes they're going to do that. They just got to convince the fan base. And that game in week 2 against Ole Miss, I think it's huge for Ole Miss. I think it's pretty huge for Kentucky and kind of getting this fan base on board.
No, I think most people would agree with you on that one. What parts of the defense give you the most confidence? What parts of the defense give you the most concerns? Brad White obviously has been great. They have been so solid up front, and I don't know if they're going to be able to just replicate that again this year.
That's the flip, okay? So I think you go back and you look at the last 5 years, 6 years. They had a period about 5 years ago where they had an amazing secondary, but since then the secondary has been the weakness, the line's been the strength. I think it's flipped this year. I think the secondary is the strength. I think the line is a weakness. You lose Deion Walker, you lose Oxidine, you lose some guys that gave you big production even if they weren't consistent. So I think that's their worry. Do they have somebody on the defensive line? Do they have multiple guys who can – they haven't really gotten to the quarterback in 2 years, even with Deion Walker and those guys, really since Josh Allen. But I do think their secondary will be strong. They've got basically a lot of the same guys, DJ Waller, Ty Bryant, Alex Afari. I think they're going to be pretty good there. But the question will just be, can they get pressure on the quarterback? Can they consistently stop the run? So for me, the defensive line is the concern.
That's kind of crazy when you think about what they've kind of been built on. There's so many new pieces. Of all the new additions, who's the one transfer guy that is apparently having a really good camp?
Well, the dude, I mean, they would say to you, the people, again, on the offensive line. They brought in Ajad Pete, who's from New Mexico. He's going to be the left tackle. I mean, you all watched the games last year. The left tackle for Kentucky all year was just a disaster, and they feel really good about him. There's a guy, I can't remember the kid's name, but there's another kid from New Mexico State that's playing on the defensive line that I think they feel good about. They're running backs. Dowdell from Nebraska. I think they like him, but you got to remember this team has 50 new players. And I know a lot of teams are like that, but for Kentucky, these transfers are huge because the culture. All right, if you had Mark Stoops on here, here's what he would say. Our transfers last year took our culture in the wrong direction. They basically went and got guys who played at the Georgia and Alabamas and were second string and brought them in and said, you'll get to play here. And it just did not work. That had worked in other years, just did not work last year. So this year, they went and they got guys from the MAC. They have 3 players who played on either New Mexico or New Mexico State. They went and got guys from secondary schools, which is, by the way, what they did in the early years of the transfer portal with Stoops. I think they think that's going to make the culture better, and if it makes the culture better, Stoops is such a culture guy. He always has been. He has always been this believer in, I can take talent that is, B level and turn it to A level. And he's kind of struggled over the years sometimes when he's had A level. A guy like Deion Walker was a top 20 recruit. And even though he was good, I don't think he ever quite hit his potential. I think Stoops feels like he has a roster full of guys this year that are the kind of players that he likes to coach the most.
Because it almost goes along a little bit with what I've been saying about this team, Matt. You mentioned culture. I've mentioned it feels like there's a part of some of the O-linemen, D-linemen you said he brought in, bringing in a guy like Kendrick Law, who's probably the best blocking receiver in the SEC. It feels like he wants to get back to a little bit of a backyard brawler team, like a team that's going to bloody your nose. Yeah. And can you manage that? Can you deal with that? Will you be okay playing that style game?
Yes, that's what they're doing. I mean, I think they will run significantly more. This fan base had gotten spoiled a little bit, and I'm probably part of being guilty of that. That we loved having Chris Rodriguez, Benny Snell, but there was a part of, okay, it's 2025. Can we please throw the ball some? And they really tried with Devin Leary, and then last year they really tried to throw, and it just brought Vandegrift. It just didn't work, and it's not Mark Stoops' style. I think they're going back to the running significantly. They've got 4 running backs that they believe can play. The new offensive line guys we'll see. I mean, but I still think that's a hard way for Kentucky to win in the SEC. But, I give Stoops credit for this. Let's take last year. As much of a disaster as the Louisville game was, the South Carolina game was, they also beat Ole Miss on the road. They also played Texas pretty competitively for 3 quarters on the road. They had Georgia. They were one interception callback return from making that Georgia game. I mean, they were in the Georgia game till the very end. He made the decision to kick a field goal instead of go for it. Fans are still upset. So you could make an argument their 3 most impressive games of the year, Georgia, Texas, and Ole Miss, were the 3 teams they played that were the best of the year. So I think that's interesting with Kentucky going into this season and to see what they do.
Did you say earlier in the interview that a player went to the concession stand during a game?
Yeah, so during the Kentucky-Louisville game,
when you're hungry.
Gerald Mincy, who had started at the beginning of the year in offensive line, he was hurt for the Louisville game, but he was in his uniform. You can find this picture. It's the 3rd quarter of the Kentucky game. We're down like 25 points. He leaves the sideline in his uniform and goes up to the concession stand and buys food. And someone took a picture, and it's kind of been an off-season symbol to the fan base of what in the world was going on. We had guys at the concession stand.
The kids have money now. They can afford these things. Back in the day, we couldn't afford an $8 hot dog. Like, I mean, now they can do it.
You're talking about starting offensive lineman. Okay, I mean that is a starting offensive lineman that did that.
He's not in pads. He just had the jersey on. I'll give him a little credit.
Is that all right?
It's still not okay. No.
It's kind of funny.
But I will say I may not have been to that exact concession stand during the game there at halftime. At halftime, because there's a little way you can sneak through the tunnel, and there's another door, and it comes out right by that concession stand. Nonetheless, I wasn't playing in a game or had the jersey on top of a hoodie during my team's game.
Are you positive you weren't playing?
It was halftime. After my halftime interview. I may or may not have
gotten
a soft pretzel.
Can you confirm that you weren't playing?
The soft pretzel was good. I will.
Okay,
can't confirm that. Was not
Here
playing.
we are. You guys are all being haters, and Cole was visiting the exact same place.
Well, now I feel better, actually.
Maybe he just needed some salt. Maybe the salt tablets just wouldn't do it for him. He needs some quick carbohydrates and some salt on the pretzel.
Maybe they asked him to play right tackle again, and he's self-proclaimed left tackle only.
Don't you do it.
There you go. Matt, great stuff, man. Thanks for the time. We always appreciate it.
Hey, thank you guys. Before we do this every year, so let me ask you a question. What do you all think Kentucky's record's going to be? I said 5-7. I trust you two as much as anybody I do in the SEC world. What do you all think?
I think they get to 6.
You do? Okay.
I'm with you on the style of this football team, kind of getting back to being one that a lot of people are going to have difficulty with. There's not a lot of teams being built that way right now in the SEC. That'll give them some advantages. I like the home field advantage. And I think Mark's got a little chip on his shoulder. I think he's got a point to prove to some people.
Yeah.
And I think that'll help this team.
Don't overlook Vince leaving, too, by the way. Vince leaving, the tight end coach, Vince Marrow, going to Louisville. That has, I think, put a huge spark in this staff because there are a lot of people who are like, well, now that he's gone, you'll never get any players. You won't be good. I think they don't believe that, and I think that's put the huge chip on their shoulder.
It also doesn't affect anything on the field, X's and O's wise. I love Vince. He's an awesome guy.
Correct. One of the best guys ever.
He had nothing to do with scheme. 0. So what this team's going to be on the field, that is a 0 net loss to Kentucky football this year.
And I'll be honest with you, Matty, I have no idea. I think Kentucky might be the biggest question mark in college football this year.
I will say they are mine. Not in college football, but in the SEC, yes.
To me, they're number 1 in college football. And I really believe that because I do believe in their style. I do believe in the chip on the shoulder. I do think at times in the last few years, expectations have kind of gone haywire because they finally got a quarterback. And all of a sudden it's like, oh, yes, this is our year. And expectations for Kentucky are not good. Like they're a team that's much better off flying out of the radar and turning every single game into a bare knuckle brawl. And a team that you hate to play against. They're a handful to play. You're going to feel it for a week. It's a double chin strap game. And they're going to be able to go toe to toe with teams just on physicality alone. Now, if we want to talk about turning into a track meet, not going to be good for them. Like I think back to Georgia 2 years ago when it turned into a track meet, it was the worst thing ever.
But in Georgia last year, Georgia, to your point,
they played them. They forced them right into the trap last year.
Yes. Yeah.
And it was and we called that game last year, so I remember it vividly.
It's like that. It's like that noon kick that I had in I think it was 18-19. The game took an hour and 45 minutes, and I don't think Kentucky threw a pass in the first half. I think they had combined 3 pass attempts in the first half. And
remember that Georgia game down there where that was their juggernaut team.
Yeah.
Kentucky played them as good as anybody in the country that year, and
right.
It was on their field, and so that was like what you're talking about.
I mean, I try to think to other teams that are question marks. I think Kentucky falls in that category for me. I think North Carolina with Belichick and all their new pieces falls in that category. There's probably 4 or 5 teams nationally in the Power Four where I have no idea. Colorado's one of those teams. I have no idea. But based on their track record, I don't hate it.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad to hear you gave me some confidence. I go on the air in 10 minutes, and I'm going to give the Cubelic McElroy seal of approval to UK football this year.
Rock and fire, baby.
All right. See you guys.
Take care, Matt. Matt Jones joining us on the Higginbotham Hotline. Always great talking anything Kentucky, and fun having that conversation here with him today. If you want to have more college football conversations with us, it's easy to do at the Jocks Kickoff Party. John, tell our listeners how they can do it.
The easiest way to do that is to text the keyword final and your full name to 205-834-9450. That's 205-834-9450. Today's your last chance to register for your chance to win tickets to the Bill Smith Buick GMC Jocks Kickoff Party, which will be Thursday. Today's your last day. Make sure you text the keyword final and your name to 205-834-9450. Winners are notified and drawn daily. Check out JocksFM.com for more info.
All right, when we come back, a little bit more on the quarterback conversation and some other news around the SEC. That's all next right here on Jocks.
Go inside Jocks 94.5 on Jocks TV. Morning Jocks, Mac and Cube, 3-man front video simulcasts are presented by Bill Smith Buick GMC and Game Day Men's Health. Watch on the Jocks mobile app and YouTube by searching Jocks 94.5 TV.